Welcome everyone to KBM Advanced Materials Launch Event. We're waiting for one more of our speakers to come into the room here, and then we will get started. I'll give you a little bit of the overview of what we're going to do, and thank you for those that are new to Remo. Welcome onto the platform here. It seemed like everybody was figuring out how the breakout room worked. We're now in presentation mode, and so we're going to be doing a presentation with our three key speakers. We're going to share a little bit more around what KBM Advanced Materials are. You'll also have the ability to put questions in the Q&A over on the side here. As questions come up, feel free to drop them in there. Other participants will be able to see the questions and kind of vote them up, but we'll attempt to get to all the questions at the end of the presentation, and then following the Q&A session, we're going to go back into the main event space where we're able to actually connect on individual tables. Where if you have questions for specific speakers or for other members of the KBM team, you'll be able to do it there. So I'm excited my name is Dave Smith. I'm working on sort of public affairs and communications for KBM Advanced Materials. And I'm excited to introduce you to Kevin Kemper, who's going to be our first speaker, the CEO of KBM. He'll then be introducing Hap, who is the Vice President of Coke Metallics. And then Kirk will be our final speaker from who is the Technical Excellence Leader and Principal Advisor from the Barnes Group Advisors. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Kevin to take us from here.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate the intro. Thanks, everybody, for joining today. We're really excited to be launching KBM. Really excited to be in the additive manufacturing, advanced manufacturing space. And we're really excited to bring to this market a new way of buying, selling, and participating in the building of parts with metal powders. So again, thank you for coming today, and maybe Chloe, if you could put the slides up, and we could get started. Awesome. Again, we are KBM Advanced Materials. We have some exciting partners that are helping us get this off the ground and really make an impact here in our industry. That support includes an investment from Coke Metallics, as Dave had mentioned, as well as supply chain partner with Sumitomo Corporation of Americas. So we have two excellent partners, both as financial partners, as logistics partners, as supply chain partners, and we really thought when we were launching it was important to have these kinds of groups involved in what we do. We also get excellent support technically and commercially from the Barnes Global Advisors. If you haven't worked with them before, we highly recommend. So we have a great team. And we're really excited now to execute on our vision around metal powder distribution. A question, I guess, that really needs to be answered as we move forward here is, why would you want to work with us? I think there are a couple of main reasons here. Additive and metal injection molding and other powder-based production methods have really allowed for a distributed production base. Sort of democratize the ability to make parts. It doesn't take a giant factory anymore. It doesn't take a lot of tooling. You have printers, you have engineering capability, you have technical expertise, and you can be making things. However, that means that some of the consumers of powder, maybe they're non-contract, they have smaller lots, the orders can be just in time, and this is a little bit difficult to plan larger production facilities around, especially when you need to schedule the operating equipment, the time, and really need sort of a plan as you make your metal and you make your powder. So we'd like to be the inventory bridge between customers that need powder maybe are not large enough to place blanket orders, have win jobs and win contracts, but don't always know when they're coming in, or they have R&D projects. They have things that come up and they're unplanned. They're good problems, they're wins, but they're unplanned. We'll be there for that just-in-time order. So allow customers to book jobs, plan R&D, operate their businesses knowing that we have in stock their raw material from the best quality certified producers. It's only a few days away. Producers then can schedule their production equipment to large regular blanket orders from us. And we will sell the powder under the producer brand. This is very important to us as we launch. The brand recognition, the value, what people are buying. These are the producer brands. Each of them has long histories. They're certified. They have excellent quality, and each brings something slightly different to the market, which is why certain customers have preferences around who they buy from. All of that brand value will stay with the producer, and that's very important to note. We're well funded and positioned to be a value-added partner to both producers and consumers of metal powder for advanced manufacturing. Who are our supply partners right now? Everyone should recognize these names: Carpenter Additive, Hoganess, and Tekna. These are some of the premier names in metal powders, and we are thrilled to have supply arrangements with them. As we launch, these are the products that we either have in stock or on their way to our shelves, and we'll be able to fulfill shortly. So it's a range of products from our supply partners, and we are thrilled to be able to ship to customers these products with the certifications from the producers that they know and they are comfortable with and they like. Another thing that we're doing, which is new to the market, is a fully functional e-commerce site. This will make, particularly for smaller orders, maybe research institutions, universities, people that need a quick order and they need it to deliver now, or customers that are comfortable with KBM, have purchased from us before, know what we are offering, and simply want an easy way to move through the procurement process. This is, as with any e-commerce site, it's incredibly scalable. It can grow to service the larger market, and it's easy to use. If you find what you want, create an account, click and purchase, and the powder will arrive in 2 to 3 days. This is what the site looks like. These are products that are available right now or available for pre-order. So please go to kbmadvance.com, check it out, create an account, and see that this sort of e-commerce platform and fulfillment will work for this industry. Know that the product that you see there, the material specifications, the safety data sheets, ultimately the shipment will come with the material cert from the lot production that each individual producer supplies to KBM, and we will supply to you. These are fully traceable products, whether you buy them directly from our sales staff through a purchase order and contract and sale, or if you click and purchase online, it is the same product with the same certifications. So if you'd like to talk to us about your metal powder needs, please email myself or Bob and Gary at sales@kbmadvance.com. We are excited to talk to you. We're excited to be part of this industry, and we're really looking forward to working with you. Thank you. I think now I'm going to turn it over to Hap to talk about Coke Metallic's involvement in KBM, and sitting here next to me, so I'm going to slide the camera over to him.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. I'm having to share Kevin's laptop with him this morning due to some technical difficulties, but appreciate the time and being here and the opportunity to speak to everyone. I'm Hap Palmer. I'm with Koch Metallics, which is part of Koch Industries, based out of Wichita, Kansas. One of the largest privately owned corporations in the U.S., certainly, and possibly the world. Koch is excited to partner in this venture with Kevin and his team into KBM Advanced. It's a space that we've got a lot of interest in and have invested in recently. Koch Disruptive Technologies, part of the Koch Industries Group as well, has recently made an investment into Desktop Metal, which is 3D metal printing, and probably familiar with that. So it's a space we're familiar with. It's a space that we're very interested to see develop and grow. We think there's a lot of opportunity for it, and we're excited to partner with in this venture. Koch Industries has a number of companies and subsidiaries. We're in many different sectors, and we have a lot of opportunity to use some of these products internally and use Koch Industries as kind of a Koch Labs opportunity to really trial it and see how these things work and how we can apply them and find mutually beneficial solutions for ourselves and for society and the greater whole. We're also long-term investors, being private, being very well funded. We have the opportunity to approach investments differently at times and get creative on solutions. So we're optimistic that this has a lot of upside, a lot of runway in front of it, and we're again very excited to be a part of this. So I appreciate this opportunity and this time this morning, and I'll turn it back to Dave.
Thank you, Hap. Next up, I'm going to turn it over to Kirk Rogers from the Barnes Group Advisors.
Thanks, Dave. Hey, you share the excitement in this project. A couple of years ago, Kevin came to us with a crazy idea, and we've been working on a couple of crazy ideas. And in the sort of the style of working on some crazy ideas, this very practical idea came to light. And realistically, one of the best things that we think can happen for additive manufacturing as an industry is really the separation of, as Kevin was saying, the producer side and the consumer side, which are relatively unbalanced, and make somebody in between, which makes it easier for everybody to do business. And so, we're just as excited as the other partners are at this opportunity. We're here to support, KBM's customers as well as KBM, and really, really excited for this development in the additive manufacturing industry, and hope that this is just the beginning of something that leads to greatness for all of advanced manufacturing domestically, at least at first. As a way of storytelling, perhaps, one of the things that has happened in probably the last 6 months in other projects that I'm involved in is that we would have a need, go and request a quote from a material provider. It oftentimes took a couple of days to get a response to the quote, and last year it was pretty easy to get metal powder. It would be 3 or 4 weeks. One of those projects, we just requoted the same material that we quoted and got a lead time of 3 or 4 weeks last December or November. Right, we just did this again, and we got a lead time of 22 weeks. That's 5 months. So 5 months is a long time to wait in mid-project, and so it required a bit of adeptness to not delay that project and get it going on time. And so because of that, right there, one story is why I'm excited for KBM. So I think with that, it's time for some questions and answers.
Thank you, Kirk. And so we'll keep Kirk, Kevin, and Hap all online here for these questions. Again, you can put the Q&A right here in the box on the side. We'll sort of go through them. You can also upvote them to make sure that we cover all the ones you want to see. But the first one here, Kevin, I'm going to turn to you, which is, where is the warehouse located?
Sure. It is located in Fairfield, Ohio, which is just outside of Cincinnati. So a nice centralized location for our fulfillment, and we can truck to anywhere in the U.S., as I said, in just a few days.
Which I think it kind of relates to one of the other questions we have here, which is, can the powder be delivered anywhere in the world?
Yes, through the e-commerce platform, we only ship to the lower 48 for now. However, if you contact Bob or Gary at sales and you have a requirement for it globally, absolutely, it can be shipped around the globe.
There's a question here for Hap, which says, what did you see from the AM industry as far as future growth that intrigued Coke to invest?
I think one of the things that helped us get our heads around this was obviously our investment in Desktop Metal that we had made, and really getting exposed to the AM space and printers and what was going on with it. And then as we got further into the industry and did our research, just trying to see what were going to be the constraints along the way and what was going to enable this to really take off and reach the potential that it had. And powder was the one thing that we saw that is going to be needed as much as anything. And in fact, we look at our supply and demand as we do at Coke. We're a very methodical and a very process orientated group. And so, we study supply and demand extensively in all our products. I'm particularly involved in a lot of bulk product trade around the globe. And the one shortfall we saw in this was metal powder. The demand for these products growing, the machines getting better and better to print, but the shortfall was the metal powder. And that's what intrigued us and really enticed us to step in. Plus, we also see it as a global platform. At Coke, we're about 120 billion a year in revenues now. We're spread around the globe, and we are looking for opportunities to scale. And this is one that we saw as a global scale.
Thank you. This question is probably for Kevin, and perhaps Kirk can add to it as well. But Kevin, starting with you, the question is, we're not clear on why someone would order from KBM versus going directly to Carpenter Additive, Hoganess, or Techno.
Sort of as Kirk described, it's a matter of timing and access as part of it, right? You can call any of them, and if you happen to catch it when there is powder on the shelf, you may have a quick delivery. If you don't, you may wait 5 months. So that's part of it. The other is sort of scale of buying. If you need 50 kilos or 100 kilos, that is an order that will not take priority. Whereas we are ready to ship that today, and we're buying in tons. So you get a bit of a bulk price. You get the producer plans for your orders. So they arrive when we expect them. And as long as we keep our shelves stocked, we'll be able to ship to you in a matter of days.
I think that sort of builds on one of the other questions here, which is, what is the smallest and largest order that we can place through KBM?
Sure. That is a bit of a packaging issue. The bottle size that suppliers provide, we'll ship down to 1 bottle. Some of the bottles are 10-kilo bottles. Some of them are 5. Some of them are packs of 6 5-kilo bottles. So the minimum order size is dependent on the packaging size, but that gives you an idea. We don't have a minimum order. If someone places an order, we'll fulfill it.
Great. One of the other questions here is, will KBM also offer a scrap and recycling option?
Yes. So the next step at our Fairfield facility is to be able to repurpose and recycle overspent powders and other metallic streams that come out of the printing process. While 3D printing does substantially cut down on waste, it's not zero. Our goal is to get that as close to zero as possible. So One of the things that we were discussing with customers is what we think is a unique value offering, because we have relationships and partnerships with the certified suppliers, Hoganess, Tecna, and Carpenter right now. If those are the powders of choice and you require a certified lot, a material cert to go into the printing, you're pretty much restricted on using any sort of refurb powder at the moment. So what we would offer is the ability to take in your metal streams that are no longer useful for you, provide a credit, and ship back the certified powder that you need for your production. So we are creating a virtuous loop there for you, where you always have the certified material you want, but you also have a recycling option for the material that you don't have a home for.
One question on here is any interest in adding Rusal America's AL powder offerings? And perhaps this is a broader question also around what other powder offerings or partnerships is KBM open to?
Sure. We have discussed with Rusal. We are working now on adding further supply partners and producers, and it's just sort of a matter of timing on the rollout.
And then another question kind of related to that, which is, can you discuss the current future material offerings?
Yes. So currently we have stainless steels, we have nickel superalloys, and we're adding more of both of those. We're also adding titanium and aluminum offerings from Tecna, and we'll be offering Haynes in the nickel superalloy. But so we're sort of broadening out our offerings within steels, nickels, titanium, and aluminum. The other thing that we are constantly doing is discussing with customers what they want, what do they need. If someone has a need for a particular alloy, but maybe they're below the minimum order size, well, we won't be. If we know that that customer needs that alloy, there will be others. So maybe your minimum order size is a quarter of what needs to be purchased, and we just go out and we buy 4 times as much as you need, and you get your product, and we have another product offering for others, or for when you need it again.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say it's really, once beyond the first buy, which we designed really from the ground up to be the most common, the most standard materials, right? It's really up to what requests KBM gets.
Thank you. One other question here is, are there any plans to offer other the raw material such as plate or builds, or possibly both plate and water-fed DD, given these can be a constraint not considered?
Yep.
Absolutely. We've already actually been working on a project around build plates. So that is in the works. And there's some interesting options that are potentially there that could link into the recycling business as well. And then on the wire fed and for the other production methods, absolutely we would consider that. It's just sort of a aggregation of demand and to start stocking things that people would want.
Yep. I would say the same thing for spares and consumables for any of the major AM processes as well. Could be on the table, right? I mean, wouldn't it be great to check out powder in the cart and have KBM ask you, hey, would you like a build plate shipped with that? Right? And get exactly what you need at the same time.
Absolutely.
One question related to the refurbishing. Refurbishing the used powder, 6K? Question mark.
When we launch this, we plan on doing it in-house. Certainly, though, 6K is an option, but the initial plan is to do it in-house in Fairfield.
And are there price discount advantage in addition to the lead time advantage?
Certainly, as the order size increases with us, we can provide better pricing. If there is the ability to schedule orders, again, we can provide better pricing. I would suggest that based off of the scale of our ability to purchase with the producers, there is some price advantage in particularly if you're a smaller buyer for us. And then the question becomes one of value over in time, right? So even if we're the same price or maybe a little bit more for a certain order or for a certain alloy, what is the cost of not operating your equipment while you wait? So there's a price and then there's a value here. We also want to make it easy for people. You don't have to deal with multiple suppliers for multiple alloys. You could simply see who we have, see the alloy offerings and size fractions that we are selling, and you can get it all from one spot.
There's a question here about additional metals and alloys that we made.
Copper and niobium, absolutely. We're already in discussions on copper. Niobium we'd be very interested in, and happy to talk to anybody who would like to work with us on that.
All right, and then if someone placed an initial powder order and decided to make it bigger a few weeks later, could KBM be able to match the lot if it were available and the customer asked for it?
100%. Every bottle that we receive comes with a lot number and a cert. So we would simply go back and check what we shipped to you, check the lot number on that, and if there was still remaining on the shelf, we would ship you the exact same lot number. We are tracing it by the bottle.
Well, I think that comes to the end of the questions we have here. I'll give everyone maybe.
Dave, 1 second. I think I would also add on that. That is an advantage of working with us that didn't come up before. We are tracing lots to the bottle. So if you call a producer that has made lots and shipped them, you're unlikely to get the same lot. But because we have that on the shelf and we do trace it by the bottle, we can check what bottles we shipped you from what lot and ensure that if we have it, we can give you the same lot.
So we did just get one more question, and I'll just say to everybody, if you have any questions, put them in the next minute or so. But will KBM have the testing capabilities to test powder lots and recertify? Will the facility be NADCAP certified to perform tests as necessary?
So our initial offerings, we don't open the bottles. So we ship the powder with the cert that came from the supplier. When we do recycling, if we create a product from that, we will do certain testing on it, and we will then get chemistry from a third-party certified lab to give everyone confidence that the cert that comes with it matches. Now, that would have to be, by definition, a non-producer cert, given that it would have been refurbished, repackaged, and handled by KBM. But absolutely, we understand that there's the testing that needs to happen so we can do that.
Another question on that line. If a company has a given powder making facility on their QPL, will KBM be able to maintain that traceability to the facility on the QPL?
QPL is qualified producer list for those that.
Yeah, we can certainly work with the producers on that. If there is a request for a specific facility, we would make that request back to them as well. And that would be part of the cert, and that would be part of the paperwork that we would get from them on those purchases.
Well, in just a minute, we're going to go back into the room where people can go to individual tables and ask questions of Kevin, of Kirk, of Hap, or of other members of the KBM sales team. We do have Bob and Gary and other members of the team here. But before we do that, I wanted to give the opportunity if Kevin, Kirk, or Hap had any closing comments you wanted to provide.
I just want to thank everybody for the great questions and for their time today. Enjoyed talking to you all, and hope to see you out in the lobby.